Welcome folks, I'm your host of the FBC Virtual and Basketball Skills channel. And what you're seeing here is some intense dribbling drills that I've been working on. And starting out, it's really difficult to do two-ball dribbling drills like this. This is a two-ball double dribble or double crossover. And basically, I'm trying to start out looking down at the ball because when you first do two-ball dribbling drills like this, it's very, very difficult to get the ball to come to your hands from doing a juggle. It's more like a juggle. So, as you can see, I'm doing different variations through my legs at different angles towards the actual camera, so I can show, going through how it actually works. This is going behind the back through the leg. This is the opposite direction of the regular crossover through the leg. So it's a difficult drill to start out with, like I said. And I just recently put up a video where I do it in a 360 revolution. This is one of the first developments of this particular drill. Now, I started doing basketball dribbling drills back in around 2011, I believe. May of 2011 was the first time I uploaded a video to YouTube, I believe. So I didn't really get serious with it until 2012. But I was just trying out things, trying to see what I can do. And a great deal of people, they basically, watched one of my viral videos. One of them is close to 800,000 views, and they saw me doing different variations of what I called advanced dribbling drills. It was a one-ball dribbling drill, wasn't two balls like this. With two balls, it's much more different. They complained, a lot of them, starting out, about me looking down at the floor. So as you can see, I'm looking down at the floor the whole way through this drill. And like I said in the beginning, see, it's really hard to get the ball to come back. Sometimes it's going to hit your foot. Sometimes it's going to hit, through your legs if you're not putting it through your legs properly. So you really got to be focused on this drill. Sometimes I get distracted by looking at somebody who's walking by, all kinds of different things. As soon as I look up, I lose the ball. So my eye-hand coordination with this drill wasn't too good. Now with this right here, I'm doing more of I'm trying to innovate and move around with it instead of just standing in one spot, because basketball is not about standing in one spot. It's about being able to move around. As a point guard, definitely you have to be able to create a great deal of space and be able to get the ball around the court. So this is just simulating with my hand movement and my leg movement, my feet, to be able to move and switch around my legs, so I don't get stuck and stiff, in one position. If you're doing, basketball drills starting out, it's okay to be in one position, but after a while you want to try to get some motion and animation going with your dribble, because then you're not really working it out the way it's supposed to be worked out, simulated on the court. So hopefully y'all guys understand that. You're going to lose the ball a great deal of the time, obviously. You see I lost the ball a great deal of the time. And I cut out a lot more of my errors than this. There's so much more errors than you see. But this is like the raw, rugged drill being developed, in development. And to some degree it's going to look like this. As you can see, I'm trying to really control it. Really, really trying to gain some control. Look at that right there. I lost it. I'm throwing the ball up a little bit too high through the juggle technique. The juggle technique is probably going to get your forearm stronger, if anything. And that's where you pass the ball from one hand to the next. As you can see, I'm passing it from one hand to the next after it dribbles, after it bounces. One, 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 one. See right there. Now I'm looking up and I'm trying to learn myself how to wean off of looking down. See, and then I lost it right there because it hit my knee. So then I went back to looking down so it doesn't hit my knee. But you can try to wean yourself off from looking down. See, I was looking up and really trying to challenge myself after a certain point so I could stop looking down. Now, an idea of how to do that is try doing it with your eyes closed. After you get this down and you figure out how to get the ball through 1-2 juggle, 1-2 juggle, 1-2 juggle, 1-2 juggle, then switching legs, 1-2, 1-2 switch, 1-2 switch. See, I lost it. But once you get that down pat, you're going to get a lot more ball control because you're having to challenge yourself with 2 balls as opposed to just one. One ball dribbling drills is also great, but it's going to limit your ability to do it on both sides evenly unless you count how many times you're doing your dribble on each side of your body. The whole purpose of this is to balance out both your right hand and your left hand dribble, so you can have a maximized and effective left hand, right hand dribble balanced, and to be able to be highly reactive, so you can react at any moment in time when a defender comes in. So that's the whole purpose of this. Now, if you don't do it, I mean, obviously you're not going to gain the additional skill and reaction time as a person who dribbles with 2 balls. The reaction time that we have for the people who are into doing these drills is much more highly alert with the basketball. So if you see somebody dribble super duper fast, 9 times out of 10 is because they're doing much more advanced drills as opposed to just 1 ball dribbling drills. So we're doing so many variations of moving the basketball and both balls at the same time that our body is now more in tune and more adapted to being able to dribble at any position, any timing, any angle that's required based on the defensive, force of the defense and the position of where you're at on the court. So losing the ball a great deal of the time actually helps you to weed out your errors. So that's why it's okay to make errors like that. Don't beat yourself up too much. Like right there, I took a little breather because it was really hot. This must have been like a 85 to 90 degree weather day, and I don't recommend for people to be out there doing all that. So like I'm right there in the shade, kind of like hiding in the shade a little bit. Every time I get tired, I go back in the shade and start over. Now, in terms of making errors, if you make an error, just go right back and start over. Now, my whole goal with this particular drill is to complete 1 full circuit coming all the way up to the camera without making an error. So that's why I keep starting back all the way in the shade, and it gives me a little bit of a rest as well, even though I'm still moving. Now, if y'all guys watch the NBA, right, and you watch the best players in the NBA like Steph Curry. Steph Curry does 2 ball dribbling drills as well, and that's really what made him a lot better. Chris Paul, he does 2 ball dribbling drills as well. This is where these guys have advanced in their ability to dribble the basketball. They move towards more of a being balanced on their left hand and right hand so they can react, and they're highly reactive because they do drills all the time. So if y'all guys want to get really better at it, try to learn 1 ball dribbling drills. Once you maximize and you get really good at that, then challenge yourself to learn these 2 ball dribbling drills. This particular drill, I had never really seen anybody do this, so I believe I'm one of the innovators of this particular drill. Juggling crossovers 2 or 3 times through the legs like that and zigzagging them. I'm going to apply a different variation you'll see a little bit later on. See, I finally made it all the way up to the top of the court, so that's 1 successful circuit to get through. So now I'm kind of just walking around in circles, a little dizzy spell, a little hot, too hot right there, so taking a little break, and y'all guys will see new variations of different things I want to implement after I finish that complete circuit. So it takes some time, man, to get through all of this stuff. See, now I'm testing my skill, see if I can get all the way down. I made a little error there. Testing my skill to see if I can get down without making too many errors. I made one error at the end, but I completed that. I figured that's a completion of a circuit because I'm almost at the gate. So then we start over. Here we go again. And don't give up, man. Don't give up out there. It's all about, being dedicated, being determined to succeed. Make sure you start off with a goal. Maybe your goal is to get the killer crossover down. Well, study as many videos that you can. Study as many drills as you can if you don't have a personal trainer. If you have a coach, your coach is not going to say, hey, today we're going to be learning killer crossover. No. They 9 times out of 10 going to send you to basketball camp in the summertime for you to learn all the differing drills that you can learn to master your skill. A coach is generally going to teach you plays and get you geared in for your physical ability during off-season, preseason, so you can actually, withstand the endurance that it takes to actually practice and also play, to be a practice player and an actual team player. So you have to be one of two different things. You have to become a team player and a practice player. So what's a team player? A team player pretty much is a person who starts on the actual team, but also not just starts, someone who can actually produce in the actual game. If you're just sitting on the bench the whole game, I consider you to be a practice player. So if you want to become a player that comes off the bench, you want to work harder and work smarter. So you start working harder by, boosting up your endurance, your strength training, your cross training, doing these differing drills, whether it's dribbling, shooting, passing, vertical jump, blocking, defense. Defense is a great way to amp up your game and become an effective producer on your team, a team player. Not just an individual who can always score and be like Michael Jordan or Steph Curry or whoever is on the NBA. You don't have to get yourself prepared for the NBA if you're in high school, if you're in, elementary school. You have to prepare yourself for the competition level that you're at. So you have to be able to compete with your peers who are on your team, who are also team players, and they also are considered to be, individual players. And I didn't say anything about individual players, but that part was the individual player, like becoming an NBA star or whatever. But, team player and basically a practice player. So for practice plays and for practice players, those who don't start on the team, but they get playing time a little bit here and there, maybe like 1 minute, 2 minutes in the game, or they just on the bench. If you're a practice player and you're there to help your team practice, you actually sum up the game, not sum up the game, but sum up the team. You help the team, and the team can become much more effective with your help. Hey there, folks. So thanks a lot for watching my video. Thanks for watching all of these basketball drills. If y'all guys watch a great deal of them, or just some of them. If y'all guys want to subscribe to my channel, so be it. That'd be awesome. The whole purpose of subscribing to Basketball Skills, or if this is on FPC Virtual, is to catch the newest, latest videos that I put up, or also to go back and check out my progress. Maybe go back in time, 2 years ago, a year ago, or whatever, to see differing videos and how I did well on some things and some things I didn't do good at all. But it's not really about the views per se on YouTube. It's all about what you're going to learn from someone. If you're into how-to videos, if you're into like basketball drills and development type of innovation, some people are into innovating on YouTube and coming up with great ideas or sharing their ideas that they have already. So that's what I'm into with the basketball community. I'm trying to innovate and create basketball drills that can be functional and that can help other people across the planet. You can be an innovator, you can be creative with what you can do. If you know how to perform certain routines and you know how to develop things that can actually be implemented, maybe they could use that in some kind of a high school team, elementary school team, and even eventually in college and the NBA. So everyone has something to offer. Even if you didn't make it into a college basketball team, you still are a human being, and you still have thoughts, you have ideas. You can offer something to the online world, and don't limit yourself. Don't think that you don't have a purpose, because everyone has a purpose on the planet. Personally, I never made it to a college basketball team. I never made it into an actual NBA team. I got cut from my high school basketball team, but I did get a tryout. I got a personal tryout from my actual college Division I basketball coach. I call him my coach, assistant coach actually, from Manhattan College. Many years ago, I was not on the team, but I was in Manhattan College, and I could have made that team. If I had great endurance back then, I would have made it. Pretty much that taught me a lesson about, the whole thing about sports. It's not all about skill per se, or you being an athlete 100%. It's also about your heart and how much you've worked to effectively position yourself. So, like, I wasn't working hard enough back then in terms of being able to breathe under intense pressure running, endurance wise. So at one point I was doing and performing a drill. They had me running up and down the court with the basketball many times to see if I had the endurance to deal with the intensity of being a practice player, because I believe they wanted to pick me up, but also to give me a chance, and see if I can become a walk-on and a practice player, not just a team player, but also a practice player. There's different types of players, I believe, in the game of basketball. Like in the NBA, there's a great deal of guys that play the bench. They team players, but also, for the most part, they're practice players. So the NBA team itself needs people. They have the starting five, then they have, guys that come off the bench that regularly play. And they're not necessarily known as the NBA star themselves, because there's NBA stars and then there's practice players and team players that all help together to produce one team and help together to produce, the NBA game itself, just to be able to encourage each other enough with energy and that mental juice and synergy and that physical ability to make an NBA game what it is. So without that, all those different variations of people combined, you don't have an NBA team. And a coach is supposed to steer them and gear them to have that ability to go further, because you need leadership. You need a team captain, you need a coach, you need an assistant coach, and you need a whole ensemble and staff of physical trainers and people who are going to gear and condition the mind and the body of that player to stay on top of their game. So imagine you extract all those things and you take those things away. What do you have? Well, basically you're just going to be a basketball player on a court, whether you're on a playground or you in a gymnasium. And as an individual, training yourself and not having those things and those elements involved is a lot harder for you to become a great player. So you have to kind of think outside the box, and you got to realize, all the differing elements that are involved. Maybe you're going to have somebody who picks you up on a pickup game on the sideline. They watch you and they say, wow, this guy got some great jumping ability. He can shoot. He got defense. He got offense. He's a guard. He's a forward. He's a center. He's this. He's that. They may be attracted to what your skill is, and then they choose to invite you to a game, maybe even to a tournament. So those type of things is a little different from playing organized sports. So I never made it into the organized sports arena, but I played in the intramural leagues. And in the intramural leagues, it was definitely something of an experience itself as well, because it takes a level of knowledge of just the average game. You got to be able to shoot the ball. You got to be able to pass. You have to be able to hustle enough to stay within the game and to stick in with the tempo of the game, so you can actually help your team win. So I started with intramurals in college. So this is more for people who are not in the official Division I team. Division I teams generally, you know, if you made it in those teams, in those leagues, you're not going to mix with the general population in an intramural game. You're going to stick to, you know, your official team, official Division I NCAA, you know, NCAA regulated team. So you're going to play with the NCAA sports team. And if you want to try to play with those guys in intramural leagues, 9 times out of 10 you may get hurt because these guys are unregulated and they just do whatever. You know, they don't know exactly the stuff that y'all guys know, and 9 times out of 10 you're gonna get hurt. So that's not to say that you're not going to get hurt in an NCAA game, a regulated NCAA organized game with your team, and while you're either practicing with your practice players and your regular team players. But as an intramural player, say you're an intramural player, you're not, you know, on that high level of Division I. There's Division II and Division III as well. So there's junior colleges and there's, you know, other colleges, CUNY, SUNY colleges that may play on differing levels, not necessarily the Division I. So if you're on those non-divisions, you're not in any of the Division I, II, III, you're just playing intramural. That's just a basic college league itself. Just like, you know, not when you're out in, you know, your regular population in the city, in a town, and they maybe want to do a fire department league, or, you know, they want to do like some kind of sports league in the summer for kids. It's a great example. If that league is not an officialized league and they just summed up a group of guys or young girls or young ladies and they got them together to make a team, that's not necessarily a regulated, you know, like athletic league for high school or even for, you know, intermediate school or elementary school. That's more of a unregulated team. So that's a great example of intramurals. So in college they have that. They also have it in the military. So I went into college for 4.5 years or so, did that, intramurals. It was fun, did great, won one of the competitions one year, a bunch of other years I don't know if I won, I forgot. But that gave me that experience, and it was kind of crazy at one point. One of my games I did really well, shot about 13 threes in a row in the whole game, and I scored really great in one of those games. And then when I got into the military, into the Navy, I took that experience and I thought to myself, like, maybe I can, you know, get back into basketball and show them up and do something that's awesome. Show them that I have the ability to be a really great player, even if it's intramural. And I started thinking outside the box. So when you think outside the box, even though you're in the, you know, in that arena by yourself, somewhat, don't have anything official, don't have a coach, don't have personal trainers, don't have any of those things, you have to think to yourself, what should I do? You know, can I make myself better? Can I gear myself to the point where I can be looked at as if I'm one of the NBA type level players, challengers? Can I become a great basketball player in general? And can I implement that and help other people? So what I did, I started to train myself, and instead of just, you know, being the average Joe, I went into the weight room. I got into the weight room, did a great deal of weight training. I also did cross training, and I was into running a great deal. I became one of the best runners on base, so I was like the top runner on base for all the years I was in the military, in the Navy. So whatever base I went on, I was like one of the top runners. I trained. I just kept training. And that's what it takes, man. You know, you don't stop. You just keep going through your pains and through your injuries and this and that. Whatever you go through. Felt like I broke my ankle one time. Didn't even go to the doctor to test it. This was I think in college when I did that. But in the Navy, I never really got major league hurt. I just maybe sprained my ankle 2 or 3 times. and walked it out, you know, and got back into the game. So, you know, you go through all the different things that you have to go through, trial and error, and you stick it in. And I did really good. We took away, you know, from the intramural league, we won every single league session, every championship, every tournament. Me and my teams that I became part of, which was the AIMD team. It's the Aviation Intermediate Maintenance Department League teams. Our division, we took every single tournament, you know. And that's awesome because it sticks with you in your mind and you realize that experience and you can take that experience to something different. So I took that experience to the playground when I got back from the military, because that's the actual arena that I'm in now. I have to step back a little bit, you know, off of the, you know, the hardwood floor type of basketball court, and now I'm in the playground again where I started. Actually, when I started as a kid, I never really became a great playground player. I didn't like the playground too much. That was when I was a lot shorter and I was smaller and weak, a great deal weaker than I was in high school or college. So I didn't play basketball that much. I started basketball actually when I was 15. Started playing seriously, trying to, you know, learn how to play basketball. So I was a late bloomer, obviously, and that's probably the main reason why I got cut from high school. I actually tried out in my senior year in high school, which I was 18 at that time. So that was my first ever tryout. I got cut because obviously I didn't have enough skills. But when I got to college, like I said, transitioning, one of my friends there, he was a really great guy. His name is George. I'm not going to say his last name, but he was a great dude in terms of helping me to learn the basics, like shooting form, stuff like that. Dribble, I was trying to teach myself dribble, but, you know, he helped me a little bit on some of the differing tips. And then some other guy came out of nowhere and showed me a little bit more. So I started going further and further. And once you get people to help you, that's the thing. And once you get help, you can go as far as you choose. With YouTube, you can use the videos on YouTube and go further, but it's really about what do you want out of your ability? What do you want to develop? You know, do you really want to become a great player, or do you just want to be, you know, just a person who can contribute to a team and be part of a team and say that, yeah, we won, you know, we won tournaments, this, that. Do you want to be an NBA player? Do you want to be a flashy individual player who really doesn't make it anywhere? You know what I mean? So if you want to become an NBA player, you got to first become a team player, learn how to develop your individual game so you can become also an individual player. So individual players are more like standout players that people will notice when they step on the court. If they don't notice you when you step on the court, 9 times out of 10, your chances of making it into the NBA is pretty slim to none. Now, how do you become an individual player? Well, your practice levels have to be through the roof. So you have to be able to practice individually in terms of drilling. You got to drill and drill and drill until no end, you know. And how do you drill? Well, you drill the smart way. You learn the smart things that people who are great players learn from the great players and learn what they do. Drill on what they do, you know, maybe take frame by frame and break down what they do. Watch the NBA videos. Maybe get a slow motion type of a mechanism, video tool, and slow it down. You don't have to put it on your channel and re-upload, you know, YouTube, NBA YouTube videos. You don't have to do that. Just put it in your own personal, you know, video file and study what they do, slow motion, and then try to map out your drills off of those. Why not? You know, that's one of the ways to do it, because everything they do started off in slow motion. They do it slow first, frame by frame, and then they build it up, and they keep performing that same regimen and that same repetition. And the more repetitious you do your drills, your muscle memory, get your arm, your forearms, your different things, your fingertips get stronger. And this is basically how you become a basketball player. starting out, and then individual game develops over time, because you start to notice that you can add with your agility that you gain and acquire and your ability to become an athlete. What makes an athlete pretty much is your senses in terms of your reaction time. If you can react a little bit more quicker than other people, and you have the ability to activate your muscles in such a degree that you can leap super high, you can run super fast. If you want to become a super athlete itself, you really got to work on your dexterity, which is your ability to handle a certain amount of physical fitness over time and still be on a high level with it. Like, if you can run a city block, right, that's fine, but how many city blocks can you run? And how long can you do it in terms of endurance without having to, drink water and lose breath and all this stuff? So stamina and dexterity is no joke. You're going to obviously have to drink water no matter what you do. So I highly recommend for people who are trying to become super athletes, you got to drink a lot of water. And when I say a lot, drink sips. When you hit the bench, you drink sips of water. You don't go drinking the whole gallon of water or whatever, or a whole, liter super fast. No. You take your time. Everything you do, you take your time, you build it up, and then the larger scales you become, then it's harder for people to defend you, harder for you to be guarded, and you become to the point where you're almost unstoppable. Just like Steph Curry and a lot of these other guys, like Chris Paul and many other people out there, who become, so dynamic in their moves, and they're so agile, like they're so able to switch directions and change around and, innovate with the sport itself, come up with differing angles and degrees of difficulty in their moves. Now everyone's trying to map their game off of them. Not every single person, but a great deal of the people who really want to become great at the game, they're trying to mirror what these guys are doing, because they are on the top of what is known as the greatest arena for basketball, which is the National Basketball Association. So hopefully y'all guys learned something from what I'm sharing right now. This is my perspective, my view on being a person who hasn't overachieved in basketball, and since I haven't overachieved, I'm still reaching for it. Even though I'm 40 years old, that doesn't mean that I should stop. I should quit. Great deal of NBA players, they retire at around 30-something to 40 and beyond, of course, after 40. But this is something that is rare, and it's almost impossible. Mentally, people think that it's impossible to make the NBA by the time you reach 40. But nothing is impossible. You got to really use your brain, and you got to think about the possibilities. If you apply certain things, you have to implement certain things. And what I did, I chose to stop jumping when I was 26 years old. I chose to stop playing basketball when I was 33. And more so that I can show and prove to the world that anything is possible. So I conserve my energy, conserve my batteries pretty much, which is my heart, my differing organs. I didn't burn them out like a lot of people do. Took my time, lived my life in more of a natural way once I turned 37. About 37, I got into organic eating, veganism, trying to become a vegan. Now I don't consider myself to be a vegan. I'm more balanced, so I do eat whatever I choose to eat, but I balance myself out, so I make sure I go back and consume veggies and fruits and everything high in antioxidants, organic foods, things like that. And me and my life partner, this is what we do, and we try to stay balanced. We work out as much as we can consistently, at least 3 times a week, and you just stay on top of your game in terms of your health as well as your physical fitness. And then you exercise your mind through your creativity, the things that you want to learn, whatever you want to know, and you apply those things actively through your life, and that achieves balance. And that's what you really want to gain. It's not necessarily about making the NBA. You want to achieve balance in everything that you try to do, so you can appear to be more solid and more grounded. When people step up to you to challenge you in a game or to test your level and your skill, and they want to see what you have to offer. Maybe it's a coach, maybe it's a scout, and they want to see, does this person have what it takes to make it to the next level? You know what I'm saying? They want to see that you're balanced. They don't want to see that you're like Spider-Man and you can freaking fly through the roof and all those things. They don't really care about that too much. Only on certain special cases and instances. If you are like that kind of Spider-Man type of person or some kind of superhuman, if you have that agility and that ability, hey, go for it. And it becomes, and it seems easy to you. But not everybody has that ability. Not everybody's like 8 feet tall, whatever, you know, towering over everybody, 7 feet tall. So, and not everybody's like the super shortest dude in the world that has the most amazing super fast handle. Some people are in the mid-range and they in between all of that, and they just can't seem to get a break. You understand? So if you're more like that type of person, which there's millions and millions of people that can't seem to get a break, try to, you know, step into the arena of balance and thinking outside the box. Use YouTube as your outlet and your inlet, because YouTube is a great way for video to merge your reality and to connect to the right people who have that knowledge, that skill, and that application of, you know, mental endurance and physical endurance. And those people you want to know, and you want to get closer and closer to that knowledge that they have, because they're going to help you. You understand? And that's what I learned so far through my experiences, and hopefully it can help you learn something as well. And that's all I got. Thanks a lot, like I said, for watching my videos. I got much more coming on basketball skills on FBC Virtual, and for those who are into, you know, the sport, into the love of the game. I do it more for the love of the game, but I want to motivate those guys who are out there to make it, you know, trying to make it into the NBA. I want to challenge y'all guys. I believe I can get into the NBA before y'all guys do. That's my challenge. I'm 40, but if you're 22 and you didn't make it into your high school team or your college team, don't give up. Let's go. Let's make this happen. Let's go hard at trying to get to your dream, trying to prove to yourself that you can achieve some amazing success, despite all of the things that you felt held you back. You understand? I see a lot of YouTubers that I'm starting to meet that haven't achieved these differing things just like me. And why are they on YouTube? Well, they have that drive and that passion and that flame that they want to really make something happen. But I do notice that a lot of them, they are like not as intense as they should be trying to be. So I encourage those who are not that intense. If you don't have that intensity, you need to step it up and really work on your intensity, work on your abilities, you know, because, you know, tomorrow is not promised, but you definitely want to realize that if there's an opportunity out there and it's going to knock, you want to be there. You want to have that door open for you, you know what I'm saying? And you want to be able to step through it. You don't want the door to slam shut on you. No more of the letdowns. So you really got to work extra hard. So if somebody's doing a performance or a drill, you want to work double time on that drill. You know, you want to work triple time. You want to, you know, show whoever needs to be shown, and show them up even more that you deserve that position. And you're not playing. You're not playing any more games. You know, you're not lackadaisy, which was the reason why you didn't make that tournament. You didn't get to, you know, play in that tournament, or you didn't get to make the team. You know what I'm saying? For whatever, you know, selection board you was getting selected for, whether it was the NBA draft or not, or to make it into a college team. They had scouts come down, they're like, man, I don't really like his defense. Whatever the case may be. Don't give up. Alright, so there you go with that, and enjoy, love, and peace to all. I'll see y'all guys in the next tutorials, next drills, next videos. Mike Pugh, signing off.